Good morning. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Lipgloss and Ladders. And this week we have a very special episode. So very excited to share this with you guys. But first, let's introduce our girls. We got Gabby, KB, Reese, and of course, Ash Benny, me. Very ecstatic about the guest that we have on today. Now, we have been following the filming and production of Queen of the Ring for quite some time now. The movie comes out March 7th. Please make sure that you check the film out in theaters, please. It's so important that we all support our local theaters and original stories during this time. Queen of the Ring is about the story of Mildred Burke, the champion professional wrestler who pioneered the sport at a time when all-girl wrestling was banned in most of America. We are so honored and privileged to have Damaris Lewis on the show today, who plays Babs Wingo in the film. How are you doing today, Damaris?
I'm awesome. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yes, so excited to have you on. Let's just get right into the first question.
Okay.
So, bringing a story to life in the 1930s requires an incredible attention to detail.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through the level of preparation that goes into creating an authentic period film, especially when it comes to costuming and hairstyling?
So yes, I have to shout out to Sophia, who did costumes, and Trevor and Lori, who did makeup, as well as Sarah, who did costumes. My first day on set was basically having a very long meeting about the time and the period, because I think that, especially in today's day and age, you can actually go back and look at what people had on and what they were wearing. So the cool part about this movie is that it's a bit of a fusion. The story of Mildred Burke and all of the women is that Billy Wolfe took them and made them look like Hollywood superstars, so that when you saw them, you didn't think that they were wrestlers. But then when they got in the ring, it was a different story. So it was actually a little bit backwards from what you probably think wrestling prep would be. It was a lot about glam and figuring out every single person's glam. So for me, there were a lot of references, because Babs and I look different. So I wanted to honor her and her sisters, as well as bringing a little bit of something of me to the table. But there were a lot of images of Eartha Kitt. Probably the biggest one that we drew inspiration from was Eartha Kitt sitting on the board at the pool. We're sitting at the pool. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but you'll see my character really draws from that era of Eartha and that idea of sexy at a time that you wouldn't think in your mind was about sexy, but these women were sexy.
Yes,
Yes,
100%.
And beautiful and strong women. Your character, Babs Wingo, she and her sisters played a pivotal role in breaking barriers and desegregating wrestling. What does it mean to you to bring such an influential figure in sports history to life on screen?
I think the biggest honor that I have is the confidence to know it's possible.
Yes.
They did it, right? And so many of us have these dreams of doing things that nobody has ever done. And so oftentimes, I'm sure everybody on this call knows that if you tell somebody you have an idea, they're like, yeah, sure, nobody's ever done that, right?
Right.
So I can imagine back then, Jim Crow laws were still in effect, that if Babs Wingo went back and told her family, hey, I want to go be a pro wrestler, maybe they were super supportive because the girls were actually in judo and gymnastics already. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm sure a lot of people were like, you're crazy. So the story of Babs Wingo, to me, constantly reminds me that the impossible is very possible as long as you stay focused on yourself. If you add anything else in, it probably won't come to fruition. But she didn't take no for an answer. And I love that kind of energy.
Absolutely.
We know that you were playing a real life superhero, but we also know that you've played a DC superhero in your past. How did your training for that, as well as your background in dance, prepare you for this role?
So for Blackfire, we did capoeira as our base because I do samba and I love Brazilian culture and everything that the Orishas bring to the table. For this particular movie, we actually had Doug Basham and Mickie James, who are ex-WWE pro wrestlers. They were in the ring with us. So I do tango, and I've been saying that the wrestling training actually Tango helped me most with the wrestling training, because Tango is about learning how to be a leader and how to be a follower at the same time. And so I don't know if you know much about Tango, but if either person does not trust each other, then the dance is broken. So wrestling training, you have Emily who has to pick me up, hold me in the air upside down, and then slam me. If I don't trust her even this much, and she throws me the wrong way, that's not good. That's not a good day, right? So for my body. So this training was probably more mental. And Babs Wingo particularly had this fighting style that was very big, and it was she flailed her arms a lot. So keeping that in with also learning about wrestling, the dance training was the foundation. I loved that I was able to bring that. But all the ego had to leave in order to get this done. How
was taking that first bump?
Great. I love this. This is the best. It's just, it's great. You don't know how meticulous wrestlers are until you're in a ring with them.
Yes.
But Heath, who was our head of stunts, it was very safe. We took our time and got it done.
Awesome.
Awesome here.
Love it. As the time progresses, more and more women are getting into wrestling as fans and as wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think it is to know the history of women's wrestling?
Oh, that is a good question. I believe, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but if you are a person who has a dream of doing something in a male-dominated space, I believe that knowing the history of women's wrestling would be beneficial for you. I can't speak to everyone, but I know that for the people who maybe don't think it's possible because things have been how they are for so long, if you go back and you read about these women and you watch their tape, then all of your doubt gets to leave because it's been done. We're just now telling their stories.
Love it.
How much research did you have to do for this position? For this role?
A lot. There's a lot of research. Ash, our director, had us watch Lady Wrestlers, which is a great documentary. If you haven't seen Lady Wrestlers, please watch it. It was like an athlete. You had to watch tape, but also the fashions of the time. I have a Southern accent in the film, so really spending a lot of time listening to people with Southern accents, talking to my friends with Southern accents. So yeah, like any project, I think the prep is the most important part, but it is the funnest part for me.
What drew you to this role?
What drew me to this role? Babs Wingo knew she could win before she won.
Love that.
So I think that the best athletes, in my opinion, have this track in their mind going that they already know that they've won.
Yes.
You just don't know it yet. They know. So Babs had this energy of, I'm not thinking about what any of you think. I know I'm good. I know we're going to get it done. And we're going to get it done. Her tunnel vision was bar none. So to play someone like that, especially in a biopic, is an honor.
And it's super exciting as well, especially given the time period, to have such an outspoken Black woman to that extent. It's really, really inspiring and cool.
Yeah, she, I think if I want anybody to take away anything from this is that idea that your skin tone has nothing to do with your victory, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not a knock at anything. It's just a different lane, I think, to keep, sometimes if you walk in a room and there's nobody who looks like you, it might mean that you're the first person who's meant to be there. So you can take that. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of trust, a lot of not fun, right? It was wrestling, but it wasn't fun for them everywhere they went. They couldn't get into hotels. It was tough, right? It was tough. There's the glamour, but it was really, 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 really tough. So it's really a mental space about staying in that victor space no matter what, and also enjoying it.
Yeah.
What part of Babs' story resonates with you most personally?
Honestly, what I just said. I truly, 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 in my daily life, have a mindset of if nobody's done it, it might be mine. But it means that I have to wait my turn. And so the work you put in while you're waiting your turn is what changes everything.
Paying your dues.
Yeah.
And just focus, right? Like if I recognize that it's not my time yet, am I training in that time, or am I letting it take over me, right?
Yeah.
Am I getting down on myself, or am I realizing, oh my gosh, I have time. I have time to get in the gym. I have time to change my food. I have time to stretch. I have time. So she took her time, but she got there.
100%.
And taking up space in a time when it was super hard to do so for women in general, but let alone.
How familiar were you with pro wrestling before landing the role?
So the closest that I got into pro wrestling was obviously The Rock growing up.
Of course.
And I'm from Brooklyn. We love The Rock. And my friend, Tamira Mensah Stock, is actually in WWE now as Tyra May Steele. She was the first Black woman to win gold for wrestling in the Olympics a couple of years ago. So I knew her story first. Everything else, I was completely clueless.
That's awesome. But was the process of you learning exciting? Did you take to wrestling and enjoy it?
Yes, absolutely. Wrestlers are some of the nicest people you will ever meet. I did not know that. And it really warmed my heart knowing that I was getting into the ring with people who cared. Yeah, it was a joy. It was a joy. I mean, I love this job because of things like this, right? I get to become family with people that I would have never met anywhere else. So yeah, all of it. I love all of it.
Sorry, you're a fan now?
Say that you're a wrestling fan now.
I haven't been to a match yet. I'm waiting because Trinity Fatu, aka Naomi, she is in our film. So I want to go to one of hers. I want to go to one. Yes. So I'm waiting.
Yeah, super exciting. So
we can wrap it up.
But thank you so much, Damaris, for taking your time out of your extremely busy schedule to have this conversation with us. I know we are one of the many people you'll be talking to this week about this important film. Again, be sure to check out Queen of the Ring, coming out March 7th. Where can everyone find you, Damaris?
I'm like, that's such an odd question. My house.
I love that.
Home.
Right.
My Instagram, though I don't post too much, my Instagram is at Damaris Lewis, or maybe in nature somewhere.
Love it.
There you have it.
Love it.
Thank you very much for your time.
So much.
Ladies, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.